Oh,
Look at that, guys.
hey!
We're in
First try, chap.
focus.
First try.
This was all part of the plan. It's a big marketing scam. It was meant to go like this, and now you will never forget our name. I swear. This was the plan.
Finally in focus.
2 seconds, 2 seconds. It's very odd. It's very odd. We actually switched to Discord and went over to Skype because these problems kept happening. And it seems it didn't change a thing. There we go. We are all in focus now. How are you doing, Lionheart? How's the Gwent going right now?
Very good, thank you. I managed to stay in pro rank last season, which means the start of this season has been a lot tougher than normal, facing off against some of the elite in Gwent. Although it was both pleasant and surprising to have a game today against Tailbot that I actually won,
You
which
did.
is not a thing that you will see very regularly. That is a collector's edition event, A, Tailbot losing and B, losing to me. So that is quite the rarity, but so good. So far, so good. How about you?
Congrats. To give context, guys, Lionheart actually managed to stay in the top 500. I believe 347th, not just
That
top
was.
500. Yeah, that's quite amazing. I didn't. I lost, and we had a little forfeit. So I now need to wear a lion onesie, for that is the mascot of Team Lionheart, and whenever it arrives from England, that is. So very exciting times. You guys are more than welcome to suggest the next forfeit. I do not have the channel points in this channel right now, but you can find it in Lionhearts. Because we're running out of forfeits, quite frankly, and we'd like to keep it
We
spicy
are.
and interesting. So keep them coming, if you will. What are your goals for this season, Lionheart?
I think I can't go backwards now. So I have to make sure I stay in the top 500 again. Ideally, I'd like to push for top 200 this season, but it seems to be getting harder and harder as more players are joining the game, getting better, getting into pro rank, and the players who have been good for a long time, who are used to doing this, are still grinding and coming back, especially now that there are more tournaments on the horizon again. So, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
getting harder, it seems, but hopefully top 200.
I mean, that's amazing. And as we know, the moment you're top 200, you start earning crown points. And that's what you're after, isn't it? The big old crown. We,
I would take just one.
the king of the jungle.
True.
Yeah, well, the thing is with crown points, if you don't actually win a qualifier and get into a open or challenger event, then you get to qualify with crown points, and that's how you end up in the masters at the end of the year. So crown points are quite valuable. If you get into the top 16 every season, but you never actually qualify for a tournament, you might just qualify at the end of the year with your crown points alone. So that's quite the ambition. Now,
One day. One day.
oh, definitely. Definitely. So now, as you all know, I can see your exclamation mark ticketing in the chat. Lionheart has bought, well, no, he's sponsoring a bundle which he will give away at the end of this stream. It is, in fact, let's find it. It's the Overgrown Bundle. This bundle sponsors the next open event, so the more we buy, the more the prize pool will be worth. And in order to enter, you need to follow our Twitter channel called Out of Focus, and then simply say exclamation mark ticket in the chat, and you're automatically in for the competition. Now just remember to follow, otherwise your ticket is void. But yeah, this is it's quite nice of Lionheart. How are you finding this board, Lionheart? You already bought it for yourself.
Yeah, I already have it for myself. I love this. The Larry or the Archospore in the corner is interactable. So when you click on him, he responds very angrily. It's one of my favorite boards, and I have some thoughts about the board and what I think there's more to the board than we currently know, but perhaps we can discuss that in a little while. I think there's a little bit more to the board than we can currently experience.
Oh.
And that's something that we'll talk about when we get to that section. The other thing you need, guys, remember you have to have a PayPal account because it's not possible to physically gift this bundle. I will be gifting you the equivalent cost of the bundle, and then you can tweet to show us that you purchased it to support the Gwent Open. So make sure you have those things.
I mean,
Exclamation mark prize for more information.
I'd say that I would like to enter myself, but I already did, so no secrets there.
If you win, oh, if you win, it's
I
going to be
will
people are going to
redraw.
rage.
very generous, and we'll have a redraw if that's the case. Okay, don't fear.
Oh.
Now, as Lionheart was streaming, a tweet just came out by Berza that gave the win rates of each faction for Season of the Owls. And this is quite interesting because they took away the data, didn't they? I don't think it's possible to track this anymore. So I'm going to put this up real quick and you can watch it with us live. We haven't really looked at it yet. You're going to struggle seeing the top half, but don't fear. I will read it to you. Okay, so what we have here is on the left, you have the lowest ranks, rank 30 to 26. Then you have rank 25 to 15, rank 14 to 8 in the middle, rank 7 to 1, and then to your far right, under Lionheart Scam, is Pro Rank. Now, the top win rate of Season of the Owls is Hidden Cash.
Shocking no one.
Shocking no one.
Yeah.
It has a play rate of 11,4.5. Not sure what that means, but the win rate is 55.07%.
And that's in Pro Rank.
In Pro Rank. In the rank 1 to 7, we also have Hidden Cash. And we have that all the way.
Goes all the way, right?
All the way to the last rank, which is rank 30 to 26. But at the top, you have Uprising there. Hidden Cash is the second highest, which is also interesting. Okay, so that shocks no one. Then on the second one, you have Mystic Echo.
Again, no surprise. I think the biggest problem with this, the information, we've been missing information for a while. And I think it's important to remember that this is a test. The information they're releasing is to see if people are interested in this information. We all know that it's older data than we'd like. It's a couple of months old already. So we already know that. And honestly, I don't think anyone's surprised by Hidden Cash being there. The only other issue I have with the data that we currently have, it's great as a starting point, but it needs to be more up to date. And Pro Rank needs to be separated out in terms of maybe 2300 to 2400 MMR, 2400 to 25, and 25 to 26, because Pro Rank's base for that being played is 0 MMR, I think. So as a result, it doesn't actually tell us as much as maybe we'd like.
That is true. That's actually really interesting. There's a very big difference. One I got to experience for the first time this season. Now, Lionheart can't even experience that difference anymore because he's just playing on 2,500 MMR with every faction almost, whereas I had one faction in the 2,500s, and there was a significant difference because I didn't know that when you play Pro Rank, you don't just play against random players. They actually pair you against people with a similar MMR in Pro Rank. So you won't just play against Coleman or Tailbot or DeMarcus. You'd have to have a deck with similar MMR points to actually face them. And it's a significant difference. So I get what Lionheart is saying. We'd much rather see what the top 100 people are playing, see what the top 500 people are playing. This would be a great indication. But yeah, the next one is Uprising, which makes sense. I'd say that's...
this was pre the nerf as well, so Uprising was still really good back then. This was the first time we saw it. So Uprising, when it still had 4 charges, was really good. So it doesn't surprise me that those leader abilities were up there for sure.
You think it's the Draug Uprising list, or do you think it's Swarm? What's your guess, Lionheart?
In April, I think it was the Draug list, but I suppose that's the other problem, exactly what you've just highlighted.
Yeah.
We just know leader ability. It doesn't give us any indication past this leader ability is good. So the information is it's okay, but it's very, very high level. And we could do with a bit more micro information, I think, if anyone's going to be able to actually use this. Past looking at this for a few seconds, you're not really going to gain much from it, unfortunately.
No, I agree with you. It would help a lot. You can't just have the leader and expect to win. You need a bit more information, but yeah.
Definitely.
We'll see. Maybe in the future they do add that. Fourth, we have Deadeye Ambush. So
Elf Swarm.
Elves, yeah. Then we have Second Win, which is Skellige. I think Skellige might even be more prominent than it was then.
Yeah, it is now. It definitely is now. But again, hopefully they'll continue to release this data. Hopefully they will release it a bit quicker than the information we've had for Season of the Elves going forward. But this, and I think as Berza said when he posted this on Reddit, this is a test to see if people want this kind of information. I think the answer is yes, but more, please.
Yes, plus
I think this is the best way to put it.
Definitely. And then interesting, we have Congregate, Blood Sin, Precision Strike, Blood Money, Arachasum. From there on, we
Yeah,
have all the other leaders in between. Let's see what did the worst. The worst was Invigorate.
it's because nobody's playing it,
Of
which is
course.
no shock. Which is no shock. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by most of what they see there, to be honest.
And Strategic Withdrawal. Interesting.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
probably
not
one of the. It
meta.
was one of the worst leaders that we had access to at the time. So, but yeah, there's not really much we can draw from this, unfortunately, other than it's nice that we're getting some information and more, please.
And more. Please, Jason. Please.
Give more.
Okay, so seeing that we have that info, do you think we can go over to the past open event?
I think so. I think so. Yes, guys, we are teasing you. Yes, we're building up to the leak nice and slowly. We're going to quickly cover the Gwent Open. This was originally going to be the whole purpose of this show to review. We have heavily changed the amount of the show that discusses this, so we're going to go through the Open and discuss. Basically, I think we're starting at the final here. It was a great day, a great weekend, and it was great to have tournaments back. We watched it together, didn't we, Tia? So it was.
We did.
What were your thoughts?
I'm. Oh, there we go. I showed you the finalists, which are Demarcation and Nick. But what we want to
Yeah.
see is just quickly the actual open. There we go. So it was quite interesting. We spoke about the Twitter curse, didn't we? The fact that everyone's favorites dropped out first round. I believe that was Colimon, it was Tailbot, and who was the third favorite?
And Wanged as well. All three
Wanged.
of previous winners all went out in round one, which was a bit of a surprise. The curse of the Twitter poll, as you say, striking again. It shows that on any given day, at that level of Gwent, almost anything can happen. And I suppose that was the big surprise on day one. The worst moment of day one, I think, was the disconnect issues for Andy, which was devastating to watch.
Yeah.
Which
I-
was difficult.
I was
We love
quite
Andy,
bad.
by the way, great guy, huge
He's
part
in
of the community, and we're all
yeah.
rooting for him.
He might just pop up anytime soon. Yeah, he said some interesting things too. He gave his side of the story in our chat, which was very interesting to hear. It wasn't as much discussed beforehand that connection might go. It was probably in the terms and conditions somewhere, but I don't think it was foreseen, or at least CDPR hoped it wouldn't happen. Unfortunately, it did. I think it first happened to Sumo versus Colimon. Yeah,
did.
Sumo lost his connection, but after forfeiting the first game, he won the next three. So Colimon fell away after that, and obviously we all root for the underdog. But then it happened again with Andy, who lost his connection at least twice, forfeited
Yeah.
both of those games. And I think it turned out to be the camera he was provided with, because his PC probably couldn't handle that. Because when it went away, there wasn't any problems anymore. But that was a pity. So Andy had to fall out of the competition because of a bad connection. And I'm sure Santi from Team Aretusa didn't want to win his game in that way. But
No,
alas,
definitely
he
not.
did. And he went through to the next round. But I'm sure Andy will make his way back. He did it once. He can do it again. And we'll be
Definitely.
rooting for him. So, yeah. And what do you think about the final, Lionheart? It was Demarcation versus
Nick.
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 Nick was my bet for the tournament. Actually, I think Nick's a fantastic tournament player. Although Demarcation is just incredible. The biggest surprise for me was that Nick chose not to ban Scoia'tael when he had for the rest of the tournament. I found that pretty strange. And I don't know if that's necessarily what ended up costing him, but it was certainly interesting that he chose not to do that. I don't know if he's ever explained why. While he may have lost the Demarcation, he will be heartened to realise that he's beaten me twice in Pro Rank this season already. So effectively, it's the same thing for him. So congratulations, Nick.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Nick most likely thought that most of his decks could actually be double Waters of Broccolon, and he did. He won one of the games against Demarcation with his double ball Nilfgaard list, I believe.
He did.
It was quite interesting to see, because I have never been able to pull it off, and Nick clearly did. Demarcation was also one of those who won Skellige at least 3 times in the competition, which was very
Skellige didn't do very
interesting.
well, did it? Skellige lost most of the games it was played in.
It didn't. But then again, Nick won against the Marcation with his Skellige deck. So they'll
Yeah.
show us it can be done. And we've had a lot of draws as well, showing just how equal the game is. Balanced, if you will. Maybe not with Square Tile, seeing that everyone banned it. But
Yes.
and the finalist won with his. But it was really interesting to see, and really, really cool to see how pro players can end up with exactly the same points at the end of a game. But yeah, we also saw a spectator mode for the first time. What's your thoughts on
Yes. It was really nice to see. There are a few things we need to see that will work a little better when they have more experience with it, when certain cards spawn cards for you to choose between. So Triss, for instance, the one that it's hovering over isn't the one that they select. It's inverted right now, which I think they're working on. But spectator mode in general looked fantastic. It's good that we're going to have more access to better tournaments going forward as a result of this. The fact that we've got another Open coming up literally, 3.5 weeks from now is fantastic.
Yes.
The more we get, the better, I think. So it's great to see that up and running.
I agree. And I mean, you can definitely see the growth in the community as well. We both stream. We both have people constantly coming in saying they're new to the game, which is just a breath of fresh air, really. And
Definitely.
I'm sure it's just going to keep growing like that, especially if the competition is growing and the prize pool. But like I said, guys, just enter in the chat and you might just win a open bundle, which will support those winners in the next upcoming Open. And
Completely.
yeah, then that's about it with the Opens. Nothing else
I think so.
really discuss. There was just a bit of controversy with how the connection losses were handled, but we spoke a lot about that on Mana Curve.
Yeah.
You had an interesting theory. If they could maybe program Gwent to save as you play, so
Yeah.
when we have a player disconnecting, we reload the game instead of restarting it and simply go on from where they left.
I think that's probably the next stage. It's not something they will put into normal Gwent, as in the client that you and I use, but in tournament modes. I believe the local LAN tournament version already did that, so that the players could take a break to go to the bathroom or anything they needed to do without the worry of issues. I think the spectator mode, they will inevitably build that in so that after each individual turn, the game creates a fake save state, so that everything runs as it would have been. I don't know if they are working on that. I'd like to see them work on that because I think it would help in future, but I'm sure it is on their list. It was nice to see how much better day 2 ran than day 1, and I'm sure as a result going forward, we will have better tournaments. So it was pretty good, all in all.
Yeah, I think chat wants us to move on to cards. You will not
I'm stunned.
Get the leak
I'm
immediately,
stunned.
guys. Just saying, hashtagging leak isn't gonna give it to you until the end of this one. Be warned.
Somewhere Ryan is going to be cringing if he reads ! Drops.
Yeah, no drops here, guys. Well, unless CDPR feels very generous, you might get drops in this channel. Who knows? But we are moving on to the new cards. There have been multiple leaks this week, and you might not have seen all of them. So we'll be discussing them, and maybe you see one you haven't. But we have a little card leak coming at the end of this podcast. It's gonna change the game, we think. It's a big one. So just stick around. I think we're gonna go over to the trailer now.
Okay. If you guys haven't seen the trailer already, I don't know where you've been. It is definitely worth rewatching though, because we have some thoughts on things that haven't been discussed in it yet.
Yes. Okay. Here we go.
Ah, hello. No, I fear this is no dream, my friend. Didn't actually think I would forget about you, did you? Me, who with but a whisper can swell a wave. Start a chain of events with consequences momentous. No, I never forget. And it's high time to pay the piper.
and only a few weeks to go until we can get our hands on it. And the Gaunter skin and the Evolving Card back too, looking pretty amazing.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get right to it, shall we? We have quite a few new keywords that were revealed, and they go along with some interesting cards. Let's see, the first one is the Master Mirror himself, and on his card is something called Veil, which we haven't discussed before. Now, Veil's definition is, it's a status that prevents a unit from gaining other statuses. It does not prevent targeting, however, so if you misclick and try to poison the card, you're just going to waste your poison, but you can try. Bleed and Vitality are also statuses, as Jason reminded us. So, what do you think about this card, Lionheart?
The card itself, I think, is fun, but I don't think it's going to be very good or very played, if I'm honest. I think it will have some interesting Assimilate memes, and it will keep the Dandelion show incredibly busy for quite a while. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be as good as people initially thought. You have to play the card on the rightmost of your hand in order to trigger it. He also has to be on the board. And it confirms that it changes the leftmost card. So if your leftmost card is good, you don't want this to happen. If you don't want to play your rightmost card, then it doesn't trigger. If he dies, it doesn't work. There are so many ways to remove him at 6 as well that I think he's going to be a great card for fun, but I don't think he's going to be amazing. Veil, however, I think has the potential to be really good, and it's going to change a lot of the way that poison functions. I don't think we're going to see anywhere near as much poison with Veil being more prevalent, to be honest. I do think that Vincent is going to be ridiculously OP for Nilfgaard, though, so I don't think they need to worry, because he can destroy Veiled units, because Veil itself is a status.
It is.
But it's a fun card, and it's good that hopefully we will see a little bit more of Master Mirror throughout the seasons.
Gaunter Odom. Do you think, what's your theory on him? Do you think he's a demon, or do you think he's a godlike character? Because demon is now, I believe it's
one and the same.
It's a card that's coming. I believe we are getting some demons.
We are. We do already have some demons. His original card is a demon, and Ruin is also a demon. So there are demons in the game. This card, I believe, also is a demon, because Gaunter is classified as one. But in this universe, demons, immortals, gods, to label them is difficult, I suppose, but I'm pretty confident that this will be classed as a demon, this Gaunter card, so it should be interesting to see.
All right. Okay, our next card actually has 2 new words, all in one, and believe me, he is pronounced Tryggvi Tuersak. That is what Berza said, so don't correct me in the future when I slaughter his name, please. It's Tryggvi Tuersak. Anyway, so you see Veteran and you see Rupture. Now,
Veteran returns.
We shall start with Veteran, shall we? At the end of round 2 and 3, it increases the base power of this unit by 1. So, what does that mean, Lionheart? We want to keep him in our hand for as long as possible?
I think having Veteran back is really good. It'll be a case of this card gets better the later you play him, as with other cards that have Veteran. They have confirmed, I'm pretty sure they've confirmed, that these abilities aren't being added to existing cards at the moment, so none of the previous veterans are getting Veteran, I don't think, but new cards potentially will. It incentivizes you to think more about when you play these cards, rather than just going all out round 1 point slam. Also, the mouse appears to be pointing at me, just so you know. It's literally all over my face.
Tickle, tickle. I apologize for that.
I actually do have a sniffly nose as a result of that, which is ridiculous.
Intended.
But the card is pretty great. Veteran as an ability, I think, will be good, and I think it will add a little bit more, or another level of potential tactics to when you choose to play these things. If I drop this in round 1, I'm giving my opponent a huge set of clues as to how good or bad my hand is if I'm having to drop this too early. And the other ability on their Rupture is going to be very interesting.
Shall I read the definition of Rupture?
Go for it.
Okay, so Rupture is a status. At the end of the owner's turn, damage this unit equal to its power, then remove the status. So that is interesting. One word I am confused about is the owner's turn. Because I'd like to think you add that status to a different card and then damage that card by its own power, unless someone can purify it. And
That's exactly what it is. So if I play Thirig V now against you, I target one of your units at the end of your next turn. So you have a turn to purify it. If you don't, it basically takes that damage.
The owner of the status, yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. You basically damage your opponent's... No, you add the status to your opponent's card, and the opponent is now the owner. So at the end of your opponent's turn, the card gets damaged unless he purifies it. Because that makes a difference, right? If I can just add that status to your card, and at the end of my turn, your card disappears, then you basically just kill off cards,
it's basically just tool removal. But no, it's Rupture is blocked by shield and armor, though. So a shield will just absorb it. Armor will take the damage equivalent as well, so it doesn't go underneath armor, and it is purifiable. Playing Veil, if you've got a card with Veil already applied, Rupture cannot activate, but Veil does not remove Rupture. So it's going to be interesting to see how viable Purify is going to be. A few months ago, I particularly joked when Caretaker was changed. Oh, there's no... Jason, I believe, quoted himself as saying that you would see Caretaker in every deck. Why wouldn't you run it? I think that was some cheeky little foreshadowing from our game director, because I can see why you would run it now. And also, if anything, this just means that if Pogner is going to be good in Northern Realms, you know what? I'm happy. Shield meta when? Hopefully this will bring it about, finally.
I myself believe that Caretaker was quite a waste of a card. Just why add it? Get Pallor. You don't need to purify, am I right? But this will definitely change things, I'm certain. Jason was right. Shall we go to our next card then?
Yeah, go for it.
I believe it is the O-Critter. And the new ability going with this is Devotion. So Devotion, trigger this ability if your starting deck has no neutrals. Every faction will have a strong Devotion card, by the way. So, now, okay, so this will be very interesting because it will have the same effect as Rodea and Shoop has with duplicates. If you don't see any neutrals in someone's deck, you know they're running Devotion. And you will have incentive to do so because of every faction's strong Devotion card. Now, O-Critters, as you can see, does either melee or range, but with Devotion you get both of those. So you give an enemy unit 3 bleeding, and you spawn a base copy of self in this row, and that's just the bronze card, right? Full provision cost.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's about 7
I mean,
points.
that's if you're not using any of the new neutral cards, and it sounds like it's an easy thing because Scoia'tael's amazing, Harmony's amazing. Why wouldn't you include this card? It's effectively, 10 for 4 potentially with the bleeding if you've got Devotion, which sounds amazing. The only problem is you now can't use any of the new neutral cards, most of which have things like Veil to be able to use or give. You're not going to be able to run Pellars. You're not going to be able to run Purifies past the one card. Because if you've got Devotion, both abilities trigger, remember. So, the fact, no, he's 2, isn't he? Yeah, so it's 7.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's all right. UK replayed. Maths, guys. Don't worry about it. UK maths.
You counted
7.
it as a replay with extra bleeding, right? That's what you did. So no, it just spawns the next copy and not spawn and play.
That's true. However, you're looking at a really good card there. Devotion will be amazing, and the fact that every faction has a Devotion option is going to be really cool. I think it will give a lot more consideration to what you're doing, and it's another thing that players will have to look out for. As soon as you see a neutral card in your opponent's play, you know that you haven't got to play around the Devotion mechanics, because you're not going to run this card unless you have Devotion, I would say. So it's going to be interesting. It's a great card either way, but I can see Devotion, maybe a Devotion Symbiosis deck being incredible, and I mean scarily good next season.
I cannot wait. Yeah, someone just asked, so I just want to clarify again. There will be a couple of Devotion cards, but each faction will have its own big Devotion card, the one that you must have. Every faction will have its own one, and they haven't been revealed yet. So, speaking of Symbiosis, I believe that's the last card I have here, and it is the Young Dryad token. There we go, Symbiosis. Now, Symbiosis, whenever you play a nature card, spawn the Wandering Treant. Now, we have that too. Let me just bring that. There we go. Spawn the Wandering Treant in a random allied row and set its power equal to the number of units with symbiosis under your control. So that is a very, very interesting swarmy type of deck, I think.
I agree. I mean, the Young Dryad is a token as well. So we're waiting for a card that spawns a Young Dryad, or maybe multiple Young Dryads in a chain. So that's an entire new system for a symbiosis deck to be able to... We're going to swarm without elves, potentially. It depends. We don't even know how many of this Young Dryad are spawned. And when you play that, as soon as you play a nature card, all of them have symbiosis. So if I play a 5/5 nature card now, which potentially could already be 5/7 with Rebuke, now it's going to spawn a Treant as well. There is going to be a lot going on. All of a sudden, there are going to be a lot of different ways to gain a few extra points and much bigger swings, I think, with these new mechanics.
Yeah, and it's not just spawning a cute little Treant that's wandering around. It's this one point can be extremely large. It depends on how many symbiosis units you already have on your board. So that's going to be seriously interesting. And I think Squirtle is going to look a bit different than Waters of Broccolon for quite some time. At least we hope. We can hope.
We can hope. I think they'll find a way to get it in. So it's effectively, when you have symbiosis, if you play a nature spell, you will spawn one of those cards. When you spawn one of those cards, it won't be 1-power versions of it everywhere. It will be higher base-powered versions of those cards. Oh, and speaking of incredible cards,
yes.
Oh boy.
Echo. Now,
oh boy.
Let's quickly read the definition of Echo. At round start, move this card from the graveyard to the top of owner's deck, then give it Doomed. So, what does Oniromancy do? It's
a better Royal Decree that you get to play twice.
Basically.
Now, because it will pull everything. It'll pull anything. It is a ridiculously strong card that, with the information we have right now, is going to be in every possible deck.
Definitely.
The only thing that makes me think that won't be the case is that this is a neutral card. And right now you're thinking, okay, so already Scoia'tael can't possibly run this if it wants Devotion. And nobody can run this if they want Devotion. But also, we've still got the consideration of the evolutionary cards to take into effect. Because neutral cards also affect whether your evolutions work properly and if you get the final stage of the evolution. So before we consider for sure how amazing this is, we need to see what stage 3 evolutions look like and how good they're going to be.
I have a feeling if you get a card to stage 3 evolution, it's going to be excellent. Because there has to be incentive to get it there. Oh, this is going to be very interesting.
Mm.
All right, then. So the next one, and the last, I believe, is Conspiracy. Now, trigger this ability if
it's Reddit the card.
It's what?
Reddit the card.
Oh, Reddit. Trigger this ability if target unit has spying. Now, how would this be effective in any way? You'd have to have a lot of spying units. Well, we have confirmation there's going to be quite a few new spying units. I believe Jason confirmed this in his previous dev stream when talking about this card. So we not only see Conspiracy here, but we know we're going to get quite a lot of new spying units to use it on, and probably a lot of more cards with the Conspiracy status. Now, what do you think, Lionheart? What do you think?
I think Conspiracy is only good if we have more spying cards. As you say, Jason has confirmed that we're expecting to see a few more spying cards. And with the changes with things like Veil starting to exist, and I think certainly initially Veil will be quite prevalent. As a result, I think we'll see a little bit less poison and a little bit more of Nilfgaard Spies. Regis meta is exactly what I'm looking for. I want a Regis Spies deck back in Gwent that actually can win games, and I would like to see lots of Conspiracy within it. So that could be quite interesting.
It does sound interesting. Okay, so we have discussed all of the new words. Now let's see the cards that actually apply those. One
Hmm.
that has caused some serious uprising, if you will. Not that that pun's relevant. It's a Squirrel McFly. Squirrel McFly,
Yes.
the new bomb heaver card. We call it the new bomb heaver card because it has the same effect. It's just as irritating, and it's going to screw up every deck you ever loved. Now, this includes any Harmony decks you might have involving Waters of Broccolon. This involves your favorite Scalaga deck playing anything you need in that final round that you relied on with
Hmm.
your leader ability. Squirrel banishes a card from the opponent's graveyard. It's only 4 provision points. But if you don't get to use it, then it's basically just a 4-point card.
True.
Some will call this a must include, and others think it won't see play. What's your opinion, Lionheart?
It depends on the meta. Squirrel, for instance, if a Neuromancy is in every single deck, then Squirrel is in every single deck because you banish it and all of a sudden they've only had a single Royal Decree for more cost. This destroys Skellige Second Wind. It absolutely demolishes it. The problem is, in terms of point value, it's not very high, and it depends on how frequently we are seeing lists that don't focus on graveyard returns. So things like against monsters, this destroys your ability to get value from Osril. This, in as you say, it will remove the special cards from the graveyard. If you are playing Mystic Echo, everything about Second Wind Skellige hates this. Lippy hates this, which makes me kind of happy. But
Oh, Lippy.
do you still include it? I think meta by meta, it will either be amazing or terrible, depending on the meta specifically as to how much it's relying on carryover. So that would be quite interesting. But
Yeah.
anyone, I think it's, I can see chat. Anybody who isn't Skellige main will probably loathe this card if it becomes meta. The only thing that makes me think it might not be is that there's going to be a lot of benefit for not playing neutral cards. So it's certainly going to be meta by meta dependent. It's not going to be as auto include as some people think Bomb Heaver is, for instance.
I wonder, yeah, if it has an effect on the meta itself, we can imagine that if people actually stop playing monster, well, okay, they're not going to stop playing monster decks, but those Scalaga Great Sword decks or a Mystic Echo, as you said, people might just stop playing those altogether this meta, and then Squirrel will quickly die out because it won't be needed anymore. But
True.
it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm definitely including this in my deck. I think
I
it's a must-have, but
I
for
probably
me
won't,
personally, you don't like Bomb
but
Heaver either. See, that's
no, I don't play Bomb Heaver. It's a terrible
no.
card. Don't run it. The only thing I would say is in a
That's why I won
tournament,
against
I
you.
would run this card. In tournaments, I think you see this. I think on ladder, you probably don't. I think this is a tech card. I think it's a tech card that a lot of players would consider for tournaments, but I don't necessarily think we'll see it as much on ladder. But we only know a small amount of what's been revealed so far, so I guess we'll find out.
I agree. I agree. We shall see. We shall see.
Hmm?
I might just add it, just like I added Nickers for no reason other than it's a fluffy boy.
Oh, yes.
It's an adorable fluffy boy, and I
Best
think
boy. Best
everyone
boy.
should include Squirrel just because of its card art. But speaking of card art, this next card is really interesting. It's called the Spoon Lady.
Now, Spoon Lady hype. I love Marlene.
Can I just
This
say,
card
someone
is going to
just
be
called
good.
you out on in chat, saying you're a liar as you played Heaver on their Getty last season, and I want to
did play
believe them.
Heaver. I did play Heaver once last season. I played it a few times in decks that
Oh.
were given to me by viewers to play.
Oh yes.
It is just stop running that card, people. Be better than that. The way is Viv Bird. If you don't know what that is, I have a friend who can snake oil charm you with it. But for now, let's talk about Spoon Lady.
Spoon Lady, Marlene de Trastamara, has
Yes.
Veil and an order ability that gives Veil. Only 6 provision points. Basically protects any card you want from statuses. Now, I quite like this. I don't know her story though. It seems very sad. Maybe you have an idea, Lionheart? You don't either?
I'm terrified by the artwork in the exact way that I want to be. I don't know this character. I love this card. If you're talking about a neutral card that we've seen so far that is auto-include, this is the one for me that is. It is an anti-status card instantly. If you're running neutrals, why would you not run this? It's a 6 for 6. In most places, I think you can find space for a card that is immune to status, and it can give something the immunity to status. I really like this option. I think this card's going to be really good.
Ooh, we just had an update. A viewer just informed us that Gaunter cursed this woman. She was rich, and he came as a beggar to ask for food and got kicked out.
There you go.
Now
there
she
you
loves
go.
spoons,
Lady.
guys. Apparently that is a after effect of this curse. It's spoons. But I agree, it's a definite must include in my opinion. If Veil is going to be as big as we think it is, this is definitely a card. It's a 6-point unit, so it's good enough. Just being 6 points, it has Veil and it applies Veil.
Exactly. It's a guaranteed 6 for 6 that can't be targeted and gives you safety. For me, it's an incredible card. It really is.
Interesting that it's 6, though. I want to believe that the devs think it's strong enough that it should still be able to be removed. Just like
Yes.
Percival. Is Percival now 6 points? Can't remember.
He's 4 with 2 armor, yeah. So they made those cards.
Yeah, so he can
a lot of powerful cards need that.
6 points because you can be removed with Delirium if it's the only card in a row, the Decoction, Parasite. So you have quite a few ways of removing a 6-point card. The moment it goes to 7, that's when it stops, in my opinion. But that's very interesting. I would love to see her in premium format, though. I would really love to see those spoons moving. Okay, so the next one has quite an interesting backstory, Lionheart, which you actually told me this morning. Algod.
Oh, here he is, big lad Algod. This is an example of the Gwent community at its absolute finest, and this is artwork that some of you may have seen before. Dario Jelusic won the Gwent art contest, and wonderfully, this is the artwork that he won it with, and Algod is now in the game. And this card is there. I'm really happy that they've taken that and put it into the game. The Gwent art contest, I think a lot of people who perhaps didn't get involved last time will get involved this time. I don't know how many people when playing this in chat ended up killing the Algod. I certainly did and got read by my channel when I did that. But nonetheless, I think the card itself, it's a 10 for 11. So you're thinking, is this going to be auto-include in every deck as a neutral? Maybe not. I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking Uprising. I've now got a 6-point ANSYS on deploy that comes out straight away, bang.
Insane.
I can now instantly make my Anna 6 points, so it's harder to kill. Or like there are so many cards in an Uprising list that I want pre-boosted that the ability to do that actually looks pretty great. So while I would say it's not necessarily an auto-include, it's pretty cool.
I 100% agree, especially since he's a neutral, right? So I have a lot of decks I never get to play because the cards are simply too easy to kill because they're so strong. Visugata of Corvo, for example, that's an instant 2 points I can give Corvo along with the leader charges. That makes Corvo playable in my eyes, except if you move him, of course, but we don't speak of that. Of
course. Strays of Sparla meta.
Unfortunately. No, I quite like this. I like it a lot, and I like it because of the card art, to be fair. But I can see this being a must include in some decks. We shall definitely see once the community gets their hands on this card what interesting combos will come out with it. But that ANSYS is definitely a very strong one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree. And it's nice. And I think someone asked in chat whether you can target the boosted units. You can, yes. It's not 3 random units, it's boost 3 units in your deck. So
not in your hand, though, right?
I don't believe it's in your. It's not from your starting deck. It's from your deck. So that's the other thing that makes this card potentially worse. You have to not draw the cards you want to boost, and potentially miss the cards you're boosting as a result. So that's the only downside.
He's 11 provision costs, so I'm sure the potential with him is much greater than we even imagine.
Hope so. I don't think. I think he'll be seen every now and again, but I don't necessarily think he's going to be huge.
No, I agree with you on that.
Well, he is huge, but you know what I mean.
He looks so small, though. What are you talking about?
Chunky boy, though.
Chunky boy. The next one is a fortune teller. Now,
Fortune teller.
interesting.
This was revealed the other day,
By
and
the way,
the information is
typo.
incorrect on this card, by the way.
Yes. No, there's a bit of a typo. The bottom one is supposed to say ranged, of course. So this is really interesting. It's a 4 provision cost card. You can either give a unit doomed, which is quite interesting because we are going to see some plays where people are going to get cards out of their graveyard and back into their deck, right? So if you give it doomed, that doesn't happen. It's like Squirrel McFly, but it just doesn't enter the graveyard per se. The moment it does, it's gone. And you can give a veil to a unit, which is insane because as you could see, Spoon Lady was 6 provision cost, I believe. This one is only 4, yet it has the option of doing both what Squirrel does and the Spoon Lady.
Yeah, a very versatile card, a great versatile card, in fact, I think, Fortune Teller. And it will be interesting to see what people do weighing up their deck building ability. Some of the new cards that you would consider greedier, all of the new bronze cards that are greedy are 7 for 4 now, which is great value. 7 power effectively for 4 provisions. The tech cards or the synergy cards appear to all be 4 for 4 with something else. So it's going to be interesting to see which way people go with it. I think, do we start with a full greedy meta before mid-range comes in? Who knows? But I think there are going to be some very interesting swings. The only difference, Fortune Teller can only doom a unit, whereas obviously Squirrel can get rid of anything in the graveyard already. So this card, for instance, wouldn't have an effect on Waters of Broccolon because it never exists on the board. It's only a unit.
Interesting. I didn't even consider that. Though it depends what the meta is, right? If you don't see Waters of Broccolon, then I would have this card over the Squirrel any day of the week. But don't tell the Squirrel that.
Squirrel meta when?
Now. Then we have Pact. Okay. So.
There's also something wrong with this card as well. It is not gold, okay? So ignore the outline. This is a bronze card. No four provision gold cards in the game, guys.
Okay, yeah, that would be quite interesting. Okay, so ignore the gold. Boost a unit by 6 and give it doomed. Now, I need some creativity on this one, Lionheart, because I can't see why you'd want to doom your own unit.
Perhaps there's a lot of other units that are already doomed. From what we're seeing, doomed appears to be quite relevant. I don't think... I love the art in this card. Unless I'm missing something, and there's a lot more that's going to synergize with having doomed units, or there's going to be cards that boost themselves for the number of statuses on the board, then that's going to become better. It's a 6 for 4, and if you don't care about not replaying the card, I guess you could have it, but past the artwork, I don't know.
I understand. I am looking at the chat now, and they are trying to say that it's 6 for 4, like you said. Doom is probably a bad thing, and it's more of a effect of getting that value out of a 4 provision card. So you just doom something you don't like, and you
True, and Anoshi with a very good point. Veil is going to be a big thing, so just use it on a veiled unit because it can't get doomed. Very good point.
Interesting. Hey, there you go. There you go. I mean, why
and
would
it's
you
a
want
spell,
to
right?
boost anything by 6 unless you want to protect it, meaning it's a good card. So you don't want to doom said card. You might want to reuse that card in the next round in whatever way you see fit. So it's interesting. I like to see how other people include this in their decks. I don't think I will.
Yeah.
But
no, I could see it going into a gourd list maybe. For spell or special synergy at 4 provisions, I think that could possibly be great. But short of that, I'm not so sure.
No, me neither. All right. So our next card is a new one that came today. It's called Offering. Now you might not have seen this yet.
No, and it's not a daft blow. It's a death blow. For those of you that are unsure, it was a translation because it was revealed in another language initially. Death blow is not a new mechanic that you need to concern yourself with, so don't fear.
It's canon now. I mean, CDPR can't change it. It's death blow now.
Death blow it is. Death blow.
Death blow.
New ability.
So what does it say? Damage the unit by 1. Death blow. Death blow. Play a bronze unit from your graveyard and give it doomed.
I actually think this is better than it looks.
I agree. I agree.
Damage a unit, not an enemy unit.
There you go.
So this is a nice spy counter for a start. It's a great way of getting rid of rot tossers, animal instrument or whatever it's called, the rat, the cow that it tosses. So you can kill that for 6 provisions. It's still potentially not amazing, but if you think of it as 6 provisions to get rid of, you can use it on an enemy unit. So if you're countering tokens, for instance, or swarm, things like that. Or I think Arachas Swarm probably includes this card, potentially. I think there's a realistic reason that Arachas Swarm would use it, even on itself, because of the amount of benefit.
I mean, it reminds me of Elias for some reason. If the incentive ever gets created that we need to damage units, especially spying units, because we've seen that is going to be a major thing, you just kill a 1-point unit, you get a bronze back.
Yeah.
And comparing it with Freya's Blessing, that's a 5-provision cost card, I believe. So why would you spend 1 more? That's the question. The incentive has to be there to get rid of a unit, like Elias.
I think you'd have to put it in as part of an engine. So think about Ronvid in Drought lists. Ronvid's a 1-point card that you want to kill anyway. So in a non-Drought list, you could use this on Ronvid, and he just keeps coming back. Freya's also a 6 now, by the way, so it's the same provisions.
She is a 6?
She is a 6, yeah.
Haven't noticed.
So, yeah, she is a 6. So the only thing about this is it damages a unit. So it's already potentially better than a Freya. The only difference is, well, it already comes back with the Doomed. This doesn't have Scoia'tael. No, sorry, doesn't have Skellige synergy, so I don't think Skellige will replace it. But it can hit spies to remove the value that your opponent is getting from Conspiracy on your side of the board, and then spawn a unit for you. So it can actually be really helpful.
Yeah, and it's neutral, so you can include it in any deck, as most of these cards are.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, so we've already gone through every single card that's been revealed.
We have. There is only one card that we've got to talk about that hasn't been talked about yet.
I think just to keep the suspension there, maybe, let's just quickly show this awesome bundle again. That is going to be given to a user at the end of the stream. All you need to do to enter is follow us on Twitter and just say !ticket in chat. You will be automatically entered, and the winner will walk away with this open bundle. Quite nice if you ask me. But the moment you've been waiting for, are you ready, Lionheart? Do you think we should
I think I am ready. When I first saw what we're about to show you, I was like, okay, that could be all right. And the more I think about this card, the crazier its ability gets.
Before we show it, you won't be seeing new card art. We've seen the card art, but Lionheart has been in contact with the Jason Slammer, if you will, and
I've been speaking to the team.
He gave this card to him specifically because it's so crazy. Now, you recognize this card art, but you'll see what it does now for the first time ever. And if you're ready, Lionheart.
Ready when you are.
Maybe get some drums in the background. Ethereal.
Leak ink. Here we go.
Ethereal,
the Ethereal card.
We've been waiting for, guys. Do you want to read what it says, Lionheart?
This is a doomed unit, and at the end of your turn, it will transform a non-demon unit to the right into a base copy of itself. That is continuous, and it's continuous for every single Ethereal that you spawn.
Now, so people will probably think, why give 8 provision cost to a 4-point card that gets another 4-point card?
Crazy.
Now, I don't think you need to get creative here. Picture this. You're playing against a game of rats, per se. Someone plays Plague Maiden. It doesn't bother you.
Buy rats.
It's probably a Glassty deck. You know, it could be anything. But then comes Ethereal. Ethereal's played on the back row. The card next to Ethereal is a rat, and it gets turned into Ethereal. A 1-point card is now 4 points. The next turn that happens again to the rat next to that card, and again, and again, and again. until that
Over
entire
and over.
row is filled with 4-point cards that were once 1-point cards. And how do you get rid of it, you say? You can't kill the card, because the card next to that card is still an ethereal card, meaning the card next to that card will just replace it. It goes on and on and on, and there's nothing
So
you
you
can
would
do
have to
about
lock the one on the right-hand side, right?
You'd have to
Well,
lock it.
unfortunately, if you play a unit in between ethereals that you have already spawned, guess what? That unit will also get changed. And when it says transform, it does mean Cursed Knight style transform. Bye-bye statuses. You just been poisoned and haven't got a way of getting rid of it? No worries, ethereal. Sounds good.
Ethereal.
Ever thought of a gurney list with this in? Your gurney fruit is now worth 4 a turn, potentially.
Oh my gosh.
And the best thing, it's neutral. This could be in any list.
It's insane.
If it sticks, how do you stop it?
I was thinking, I play my Nilfgaard deck, I want to poison, I throw a Rotosser out there, just everyday Nilfgaard things.
Yeah.
Ethereal gets played. Now my Rotosser card gets changed into this crazy card. Every card I poison next to it is doomed to turn into Ethereal. Not much I can do here. Not much I can do. And Malena. Just run Malena. Move Ethereal around. Who cares? Just move him around as you see fit. Change any cards that are poisoned into it if you can. It's insane. There's so much value here.
It really is. Imagine moving one of them that is spawning onto another row as well. Imagine throwing a spray, Sparla now jumps up in your wide list.
Whoopsie.
This with Triss plus any Bone Talisman list is going to be insane. Counters to this are going to be everywhere if it becomes prevalent. You're gonna see orcs trying to lock all of them. You're going to see Lambert everywhere. Igni will love this card for sure. But again, this is not a monster card, guys. This is a neutral card. So it can go in. At the moment, my first thought is monsters, monsters, monsters.
Same.
But how many other factions swarm and spawn things? How many times, if you think about running NR Swarm right now, and I've completely forgotten the guy's name. Jermaine, thank you. Jermaine and his cows, bye.
Never play him, ever. Now I might. I might play him. And Voimir, that card at the last turn of my round. Just Voimir all the Ethereals. But I would definitely include Strays or Sparla, actually. The moment I play this card, I'd want to move him from row to row, especially since people, if they lock him, we just have to purify, right? Or as well then, there are only so many locks in a deck. But
exactly.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. It's Ethereal,
It's going to be a challenge.
You heard it here first and foremost.
It's I think the first deck I build in the new expansion is a Gurney deck with this, because Araka Swarm would include this, because every single one of those now is worth 4, and you get 5 of them in Araka Swarm. In Gurney, I get, how many turns do I get? Probably 20, so I potentially get 20 lots of +4 if this card can stick in a single. That's just crazy. It's a doomed unit, so you can't bring it back.
No.
Unless, of course, you purify it, of course.
Oh, yeah, just purify it. You have
Purify and Neuromancy.
You just purify a few, actually. Why not? Just get Gatetaker in there. Purify a few of them. Why not?
There is a lot of potential.
Wow. Okay, so I'm sure this lived up to most people's expectations. This is just one of the many cards that are coming out. I am still asking for another. We might have another OOF episode during the next 2 weeks if I do get my hands on one. There was still one thing we had to discuss, I believe, but except for the prize, that is. The prize we'll be giving by the end of the stream. I believe it was...
There are a few,
Evolving Cards.
Evolving Cards make all of the cards that we've seen so far unknowns, because Evolving Cards have the benefit of having 3 stages depending on the round you play them in. 1, 2, or 3, and they improve depending on which round you play them in. However, round 3, only happens if you're playing a deck with only faction-specific cards. We don't know who these people are or who these cards are. I have a theory that they are former leaders without cards in the game. I think the trailer reveals the first one we're going to see properly is the Usurper, or Dooney. I think he's going to be the first one, and I think there is also card art reveal in that. I think there's a Nilfgaard card shown to us that we haven't seen before in that trailer. So I think perhaps that could be the case. I think it's going to be interesting to see. There is one per faction, so there is still hope for people looking for Dagon in Monsters. I personally think it'll be a Wild Hunt character, but we will see. We will see.
I'm very excited. And the Evolve cards, they work in a similar manner as, what was it called? I believe it was called, not Rupture, but Veteran. You have to
similar
keep
idea.
that card in your deck, essentially. It motivates the player to keep cards and plan ahead. The longer you wait, the stronger that card will be. It's much like the Evolving card back I already have. It's awesome.
I love that card back. And it's a weird idea to have a card that you don't want to play, potentially. So if I've got it in hand round 1, I don't want to use it until round 3 if I can help it. The problem is, if I'm running that card, I can't use most tutors to get it out, because I can't include Royal Decree or Oneiromancy or Matter, because I lock stage 3 because they're neutrals.
Exactly. That's an interesting one they threw in there. So you can't have any neutrals in your deck if you want to reach stage 3 of the evolution. You can only reach stage 2. So it really depends what stage 3 will entail.
How good are these cards?
That's
and we
question.
think the first one is being revealed tomorrow, potentially, by the sound of it.
Might be.
We think the Nilfgaard one is tomorrow, I believe.
You believe? Now, where did you
I
get
believe
that
it's
lead?
tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that the Nilfgaard leader, the Nilfgaard evolutionary card, is tomorrow. And I love the lore idea that these are all characters that Gaunt has interacted with and shaped history. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's scheduled for tomorrow for the Nilfgaard one. And if you guys have noticed, and a couple of the eagle-eyed people in my chat earlier had noticed, every card revealed so far has been a neutral. So what does that mean if we're getting a Nilfgaard thing tomorrow? Does that mean all the neutrals are revealed? Well, I suppose you'll be able to see on the website, and if not, I'm guessing they probably will all get revealed by the end of today, meaning the next few days of leaks are going to be the Nilfgaard cards. Is it going to be spies?
Wow.
I don't know.
Can you imagine? Spies are coming back, I think. I think they're coming back stronger than ever. I think poison is going to be a lot harder to manage right now, especially with Veil being a thing, Ethereal being a thing. I think most of my decks will actually have to get deleted. So I'm going to
delete every deck.
Brainstorm a bit. I think we'll have an episode at some point where we can maybe brainstorm together with chat and see what types of decks will be in the next meta. I think that's definitely something we'll be doing. Anything else you want to discuss, Lionheart?
I think if we look at the website as it is right now,
yes,
we're going to see Nilfgaard reveals shortly, i.e. tomorrow, and the cards are going to start revealing. I think as a result, if you look at how long we've got left and how many factions that we need, you're going to end up with reveals for sets of 4 days by faction, and I think there'll be little videos revealing the evolutionary cards coming out each time, maybe even dev streams, which would be so cool, depending on if they've had time to do that or they're inclined to do that, whether they're releasing videos, I don't know. But I think we get the reveals in sets of like 4 days per faction. I think they want to give the factions more identity by revealing them in this way. So we've started with neutrals. I think we move on to Nilfgaard, then Syndicate, Skellige, Monsters, Northern Realms, and finish with the faction that clearly needs support, Scoia'tael. That's the way I think it's going to go. As Tia said, this Gwent partners get to request card reveals. I've been lucky enough that this one was mine. If Tia gets one, we will be doing another episode. And while we're giving this away for this episode, the bundle we're giving, there will be a bigger one being revealed and released. Yeah. Oh, and there you go. They've announced Syndicate is from the 11th of June, actually.
They've said it. Yeah, I haven't seen this yet.
There you go.
So far, you are right. We've only been getting neutrals. Here you can see. So as you can see, okay, here we can actually see the literal factions all of these cards will be from. We don't have
you will get to see ours
any
on there.
neutrals left. Well, okay, here's a neutral. Yeah, so we have a few Squirtle, we have quite a few Nilfgaard here, a few Skeleton.
So are we the last neutral then?
I believe we might be.
Because that neutral there, is that the last neutral on the board?
It is.
Next to Tryggvi?
It is.
Okay.
Another at the top 2 left.
Oh,
here we
is
go.
there?
Here we go. Another. Yeah. Okay, I have a feeling this one will be leaked pretty soon as it's between Offering and Pact.
I think you're going to see another reveal at some point today then somewhere, so it's definitely worth keeping your eyes on the Plague Went site. Definitely going to be at least another reveal today, I would say, because there are 2 left to reveal. One of them is us. Ethereal is there already. And now that we're live, they've leaked it. I see.
Oh, there we go. We'll make a post on Twitter if someone wants to take a look at it again anyway. I'm just reading this. Discover new evolving cards. We might get some tips out of this. Introducing Gwent's all-new legendary card type, one that evolves during battle. Commands some of the most iconic Witcher World characters. And that's why you think it might be previous leader cards, right?
I think so, yeah, I think so. I think it might end up being the Usurper. I said it might be Dunny. I don't think it's Dunny. My head's confusing several characters. I think it'll end up being Usurper. And I think it will go through the stages of him prior to making the decision, during making the decision, and having killed the king. I think that's the way that's going to go. I'm interested, and we're interested in your speculation on what the others might be for the other factions, and do comment on that either in our Discord or on the Twitter post that we're going to post when we show the card up on Twitter. Definitely worth doing that. It could, the people think it might be Amir. It could be many things. It would be cool if it was Dunny, though. That would be amazing. We shall see.
Ooh, but be wary. This power is not yours alone to wield. That's very interesting. I wonder how this can be abused.
We shall see. I suppose if everybody has the option to do it, or that's an interesting play on words.
I know.
What else does it change? What else does... We're thinking of these cards rigidly in the way they currently exist, that they get more base power or they unlock new abilities. What if they change the whole board? What if they change the base power of every card?
This will be extremely interesting. I think the lore behind these cards are going to be phenomenal.
That has real potential, actually. They could be more than we're thinking. We're thinking really rigidly.
I think so too. I think this is going to be a big deal. This just means the Nilfgaard card is going to be announced tomorrow. The evolving Nilfgaard card.
Yes, and we'll know more then. Will they give us all 3 stages of its evolution? I hope so.
That's insane. And then Syndicate the 11th of June. I wonder who's going to be leaking that. That's insane.
I think those will probably come from the devs, and I think there will be videos that will be available. I don't know that for sure. But I think they will be I think there'll be videos. They'll either be mini dev streams, and they will go through them in detail, or there'll be pre-recorded videos announcing the information. I'm really excited now. I hadn't given that any consideration until you finished reading that sentence.
I know. I only noticed it now myself. That's
true. Or that's a good point. Maybe the faction ambassadors for each faction get to reveal them. That would be exciting.
Oh, yeah, that would be extremely interesting. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see quite a few people then. I like that.
Will.
Wow. All right.
I still think there's a lot more. I think there's going to be more than we already know. I think this is going to be really exciting. We've got a month left of the current journey and a new journey starting during this. I wonder how much the new journey will be influenced by Master Mirror or what we get to see. I think that could be really cool. I think there's still a few tricks up the sleeves yet, and I think you may have just clocked onto one of them. The power is not yours alone. It could just be that your opponent might have it too. The wording makes me think maybe not. I think you might be right.
It's going to be so extremely interesting. I was just about to ask something. What was it? Something I was wondering about.
Don't know. We have our leaked card, and I did see Miss Lady J, the purveyor of rats, pop into the chat. This card ruins the rat deck, so retire it now. You play rats, I play this, and all of your rats go bye-bye. Yes, please.
Well, do you mean spawning rats in Euro?
No, spawning rats in your opponent's side of the board.
That's what I mean. So Noonwrath, right?
Yeah, so people playing that horrible
Oh,
Noonwrath deck, you terrible,
oh,
terrible people.
yeah,
If this card
definitely.
exists on the board, you are in trouble.
Hmm, I like that. I like that.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you'd have to have the card in your deck though.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. You'd have to have it ready to play, but we shall see. There's so much more. We can all speculate, and I think every few days we're going to see a complete new set of theory crafted decks based
mhm.
on new cards, how they synergize with what we currently have. We don't know everything,
We don't. We don't.
so
But the
it's going to be
moment we
interesting to see.
do, you'll know first, right
Mm.
here.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about a Oh yeah, the journey. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts about the next journey characters? Just speculation. I heard some people like Yennefer. I've heard some people want
I
her there. Others want the current leader, Master Mirror, to be there, but that wouldn't make sense, right? Because we already can buy his skin.
I don't think it'll be Master Mirror. Originally, I expected the person who was the themed person around the expansion to be one of the journey characters, and that was going to be how we got the next skin.
Hmm.
I now think that it's more likely to be Siri, because I
Oh,
think it fits nicely in the Master Mirror theme. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if it is. I think there's a lot of potential for it to potentially be Siri. I don't think we're going to see a journey that is Yen and Triss unless we get both of them at the same time, and I don't think now is the right time for that. I think it will end up being Ciri as the main character and the skin. They have also confirmed that the Master Mirror skin will be available after launch in a separate bundle, because obviously right now it's only available in a rather sizable bundle that comes
yes.
with kegs.
Hmm.
In a version one way or another at some point after launch, people will be able to get it if they do want it. So don't fear, you're not going to have missed out. It is going to be available.
All right. Okay, so I believe that's more or less all of the things we wanted to discuss during this episode.
Definitely. There is a lot more to come in terms of reveals. I think the new journey, the more I see about everything that they release, the more excited I get, because every time we think we're getting one thing, we end up getting a better version of that than we realize. And I think the journey's not done evolving just yet. I think there's more to it than we know. And I think we might see some exciting things come out of future journeys that we're not quite expecting just yet. But
I
we shall see.
have a feeling you might be right. You normally tend to be. I
We
think
shall see.
we have no idea what's coming, most likely. This is just the beginning. And we
Oh,
begin with
yes.
cards, right? That's just the beginning.
Exactly. Begin with cards and new abilities and go from there.
Alright, so guys, the bundle we're giving away today. If you just popped in, all you need to do to enter is follow us on Twitter and then say !ticket in chat. Now, we're going to be drawing a winner pretty soon. Now, this is a big bundle. This is the Green Cricket board and leader skin. Lionheart has been so generous to buy this for you guys. And
The one thing I forgot to talk about actually,
Oh
that
yeah?
board. If everyone's seen the board, there is you can interact with the Arrakis board that's in the corner, or Larry, as of course we all know him thanks to the wonderful Watch Flake. I
Larry.
think, in fact, I'm 99% sure that if you play Squirrel McFly on this board, you are going to get swarming squirrels. No one's told me that that's the case. I am almost positive that we are going to see more interactions based on special situations, i.e., playing certain cards on certain boards or with certain leaders. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see that with Squirrel in the same way that Plague Maiden on the rat board swarms rats everywhere. I think Squirrel, or possibly Larry even, and I might test that later. But yes, I think we're going to see more of that. So That should be pretty cool if that's the case. Obviously, it's impossible to test with the squirrel yet because it doesn't exist, but we'll see.
Doesn't. I quite like that. A bit of a more interactive board. And people have been telling me in my streams these past few days that they've noticed different voice lines coming from certain cards. And
Yes.
they are right. They are right. I think Gwent is becoming even more interactive with regards to its cosmetic section. I quite like that because we already have this with the board with the rats.
Yeah.
If you play it wasn't Noonwrath, was it? It was Plague Maiden.
Plague Maiden, yeah.
And then all the rats swarmed the board. Now I think we're gonna have a similar thing happen, like you say, and you think it's gonna be squirrels.
I do, yeah. I think it'll be squirrel because there's already a squirrel on the board that runs up along the side of it. I think if you play the squirrel on that board, it will happen. And I think we're going to see more of that in the future. Whether that's... Yeah, I think there's going to be lots of other little hidden interactions that people are going to be able to go fishing for, which could be quite exciting. Another layer of things to enjoy.
Just quickly see here, if you type in ticket, too many ticket means you've already requested a ticket, guys.
It does.
It does not mean that we've run out of tickets, so do not fear. Let's just make sure.
So as long as you're following us on Twitter, guys.
We've got 119 people entered.
Wow.
Now, just remember to be followed, because it's going to suck if we draw your name and we see you're disqualified. But so
Yes,
far,
if you're not following us on Twitter,
cool.
you are not eligible for a ticket. So make sure you are following us on Twitter right now. The link is just in chat. Go quickly, drop that a follow. Yeah, there you go. And you also have to have a PayPal account because bear in mind, it is not possible to gift specific bundles right now. So you're going to be gifted the UK equivalent cost, and then we will get you to post it. How do we know? Ben, I will be asking you. I will be asking the winner to let us know their Twitter handle so we can double check when we give the prize. Don't worry.
Don't be afraid. Don't worry about that. So, seeing that some people are panicking, we'll give you a few more minutes to quickly scramble ahead and make sure you're followed. And thank you very much, guys. Don't worry, we won't spam you on our Out of Focus channel. It's merely there to inform you when next episodes are taking place. And any leaks we might have, we will definitely be posting the card art along with the explanation of Ethereal tonight. If you missed this episode or just came in, we will post this up on YouTube and you can watch it there. We will give the link to you on the Twitter page. So it's just to keep you all informed. So
definitely. The other thing to ask, guys, a couple of people have mentioned that they would like this to be available as an actual podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. If we're going to pop up a Twitter poll in the next couple of days, and it'll be open for a week to see if there's enough people that are actually interested in doing that, we will then switch to and add it to those platforms as well, provided people are actually interested in having that be the case. So if you do follow us, check that out, make sure you vote, and then if you are interested in that, let us know.
Yeah, it seems some people really like listening to podcasts on their way to work or when they're jogging. So we understand that. And if that's the case and we know people will actually make use of it, then we do not care at all for a bit more admin. It's fine.
No, we will happily put that work in. It definitely, it definitely makes sense.
Apparently, the subs demand special treatment. Now,
the subs cannot have special treatment because some people sub to Tia and others sub to me. And as a result, it would be unfair to favour the wonderful people that sub to me over the people who sub to Tia instead of me.
We're
strange people.
So wonderful. Just remember that. It's a known fact. Tia Town is the best. Okay.
Draw time.
He didn't even disagree. That's canon now, guys. Draw time it is. Draw time it is. So, I am going to go onto Stream Elements. Just so you know, I don't actually choose a winner. Stream Elements draws one at random. So it's not rigged. Yeah. Do not fear. If it happens to be me who wins, we will redraw.
If you win, I swear. And Mishima, we will ask the winner what their Twitter is so we can double check that they're following us just to make sure, because it's an easy enough thing to do. And we've been saying it long enough that even if you didn't have a Twitter, you can probably have made one in the last 10 minutes and just quickly followed us, right? So.
Okay, cool. So.
Are you ready?
I'm going to close it now. If you haven't said exclamation mark ticket yet, of course you must have followed to do so. It's already rigged, I see. Okay, we're gonna close it now in the next 10 seconds. So this is your last chance to enter. Okay.
Here we go.
5 more seconds. And
Someone just got in right at the very end there.
Oh wow. We are closed.
Okay, and it's in chat now that it's shut. Are you ready? Good luck, everyone.
All right. So the winner of the next
here we go.
open bundle.
And it will support the Gwent Opens prize pool, guys, which is really cool.
It will. It will indeed. The winner is...
Please don't be you.
The winner is Le Touch Lamperage. Now, this is a name I have not seen.
No,
Congratulations,
okay, so
friend.
if you are in... Congratulations. See, not rigged. That is only my 7th fake Smurf account that won it, so you all had a fair chance. Congratulations. I will whisper you shortly after the end of this stream. Congratulations to you. And we will get your information. We will double check that you're following on Twitter, and we will make sure that you get everything across so that you can get your bundle.
Oh, okay. So we will confirm this, guys. We are sure that this person is already followed. If not, we will make sure that we redraw at some point. Can the touch lamp?
If you just hold it there, and if you make sure that the giveaway doesn't complete, which you can choose by not completing it, we can always redraw from the same group of people if they aren't following. But I'd be very surprised if they're not in the time it's going to take us to confirm. I'm sure we will be fine. But if that is the case, we can always redraw it. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't fear. We will make sure it's all fair, guys. So far, good luck to our winner. They get the money to buy the board themselves, which we know they will, because we will ask for a retweet. And yeah, that's it, guys. Keep your eyes open for that. We'll post the card art to Twitter right now. Thanks so much for all of your support. I really hope you enjoyed this episode with Lionheart and me. And please remember to check out my dear co-host Lionheart on his channel. He is also a streamer, believe it or not. Ooh,
True story. Yes, I am a Gwent streamer, as some of you will know. Come by and say hi whenever you like. Both of us stream at least 5 days a week at the moment. It's been great revealing this card. Thank you to CDPR for letting us do it. Hopefully, because that was my card reveal. If Tia is lucky enough to get one, there will be another episode in the next couple of weeks revealing another card. If that is the case, we've given the Gwent Open Bundle away this time. Next time, if Tia has a card to reveal, we will give away the Deluxe Master Mirror Bundle. The big one. Wow. The one that comes with the title, with Gaunter, and the 35 kegs. So, your move, CDPR. If you give us a card to give away, we will give that away to someone in the community. The big boy. That will be available if there is if Tia is lucky enough to get a card reveal. We will do it on the show, and we will give that away to somebody.
That's insane. Lionheart the Generous, really.
Lionheart
the sponsor. I think that's a better term. Okay. Well, thanks so much, guys. Again, you can check us out on Twitter. If you haven't, you can. I will upload the next episode to YouTube. For now, this is on my YouTube account. Lionheart has yet to make one, and if we have enough episodes, we'll make an OOF YouTube account at some point. But right now we're on 3 episodes, so we're just getting started. When we have enough, I'm sure we will brand into that.
Oh, there will be more. There will be more.
They definitely will. And thanks for joining me, Lionheart. I had a lot of fun, and I'm sure
a pleasure as always.
Okay, so I think we'll be raiding someone now.
We will, yeah. We'll go to the end. Do you want to leave the card art up so that people can see it just as we go?
I think that's a great idea.
So for the last time, Ethereal. You saw the artwork at the open. It's quite the card. Yeah, absolutely loving it. I think you're going to see a lot of play, and the potential for this card, even if you're just removing spy synergy, let alone having a consistent engine that also removes statuses. Yeah. Look out for this in a meta near you soon.
Okay, so we can. How about Kung Fu Rabbit?
Kung Fu Rabbit is doing a subathon right now. He's a
Oh.
great streamer, a wonderful guy. Definitely a good idea to send you over to Kung Fu.
Awesome, guys. Check out Kung Fu Rabbit. I believe he's in Team Bandit Gang. We are also part of Team
That would be
Arathusa.
news to me.
Yeah, you can see their little logo there at the bottom of the screen. We're having great fun there, and yeah, keep your eyes open for Lionheart and my MMR this season. It seems we're going to try and be a bit more competitive. We might meet you
Definitely.
on ladder. All right, guys.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say, Kung Fu is not Team Bandit Gang, by the way. I was going to say that
He's
was
not?
news to me. He's not, no.
I just saw a rabbit.
Recruiting for another team.
Well, he's not. It's canon, guys. Because
Yeah,
I
that's
said
it. You've got to accept him now, Team Bandit Gang.
It
We have
just is.
gifted you.
I sincerely apologize. All right. Well, we're sending you over to him anyway, so just congratulate him on that.
Congratulate him on joining Team Bandit Gang.
I'm sure he'll love it. He'll,
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a great show.
he'll love it. Okay, guys. We shall see you maybe in about 2 weeks' time.
We hope so.
And this has been Out of Focus, Episode 3, also known as Oof.